ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। नमः श्रीशङ्करानन्दगुरुपादाम्बुजन्मने सविलासमहामोहग्राहग्रासैककर्मणे। We have begun the first chapter of Panchadashi, which is called Tattva Vivekaha, of 65 verses. And in the first 7 verses, the author has established the Sat and the Chit aspect of Atma. The first 10 verses are all about Tvam-pada Vichara. That is, what is the essential nature of the Jiva? So Panchadashi is pointing out that we are really the inner sentient conscious being. And so Sat and Chit was established as the Sa Samvit. The Sa Samvit is the pure consciousness or Sakshi Drik, and that is the non-negatable Satyam, the invariable constant, which is Dinantare, Masa, Abdha, Yuga, Kalpeshu. That is, in all the 3 periods of time, there is this thread of continuity. Shastra is talking about this higher I, Sat Chit Ananda Atma I. But when we say I, so which I do I mean? Mostly, it will be the empirical transactional I. So when I say in the 80s, I was a young schoolboy in the 8th grade. And today I am a senior citizen. Yeah. Or I say that I was young then, I'm old now. Or last night, yesterday, I went to bed early and I slept. I had vivid dreams. And today I woke up early. So all these eyes are placed in some avastha, some stage of life. But the recollection, the continuity is possible only because of Sa Samvit. So that Sa Samvit is the Sakshi Drik, is a lifelong companion, and there is the thread of continuity by which I can connect one stage to the next. And not only is it a lifelong companion, but it accompanies us after this life. Janma after Janma, it is the Sa Samvit. And so these were the first few verses. And the logic used here was the Prakriya Avasthatraya Sakshi Prakriya. So like in the Drik Drishya Viveka, every avastha or state was analyzed. And then the conclusion that the I, the higher I, the Atma I is the Sa Samvik. Now, Shastra also gives another example. You may remember in Rama Gita, we did the example, Soyam Devadattaha. Saha Tatkale Deshe Devadattaha. Etatkale Deshe Devadattaha. So, what is this example all about? Supposing I meet a friend, a childhood friend, a school friend, or some forgotten relative after 30 years today. So I say, Sushma, is this you? You had short hair then, and you were very thin, and today you put on so much weight, you have long hair. No? Or the Devadatta example, the Devadatta was also short and thin, and today he's put on weight and grown a beard. Now, how did we recognize this person? So many changes have happened. And so Shastra says it's because of Sa Samvit. There is that changeless, essential nature despite the external changes. And so we are able to recognize. They say even the eyes, the eyes remain the same. The eyes may grow dim or have sharp sight, but the shape of the eyes remain the same. And we hear that how the eyes are the mirror of Atma. So the eyes radiate that Atma Tattvam, that we can see in the eyes. Yeah. So that recognition happens because of that beingness. So that being, that awareness, that sentience is who one really is. Then after Sat and Chit, from in verses 8 and 9, the author points out the Ananda aspect of Atma. Now we all can easily accept and understand the non-negatable being that I am. I was, I am, I continue to be, and I'm a sentient conscious being because I know that I am. That cannot be negated. But the Ananda aspect is the challenging aspect of Atma. It is not easy to understand how can I be of the nature of Anandam when all around me there are so many challenges, situations that threaten me all the time, and I'm going through the turbulent ups and downs of life. How can the Shastra say that I'm the nature of Ananda? Hmm? So that is where we are now, the verses 8 and 9. So author is going to establish how Atma is the dearest, is the closest, and is the lifelong companion. Atmaiva bandhuhu, Gita also says. And if we reflect upon our own lives, we had so many companions in childhood, in youth, and in middle age, and so on. Where are they today? So some have dispersed family members, some are lost, in the flow of time, no? But I am still around. Who's that I? No? That is the Sat Chit Ananda Atma I. So now we are going to see, again revisit these two shlokas, 8 and 9. Let us look at 8 first. Where Vidyaranya Muni says, Iyamatma paranandaha parapremaspadam yataha manabhuvam hi bhuyasam iti prematmanikshate. Iyam atma paranandaha paraprema aspadam yataha manabhuvam hi bhuyasam iti prema atmani ikshyate. So, now have you noticed Iyam Atma? So now the author is saying Iyam, that Atma, Sa Samved, which is Sat and Chit. Yeah. Now that same Samved, the nature is also what? Paranandaha. That is the source of Parama Anandaha. And we had explained how it is better not to translate Anandam as bliss or joy. Yeah. Why? Because these words, bliss and joy, even happiness, happiness indicates an event, a situation that arrives, lingers, and departs. It is an experiential Anandam. But that is not the Anandam, that is the aspect of Atma. So the Atma Ananda is described as Swarupananda, Niratishayananda, Nityananda, Atmananda, and so on. That is, the nature is fullness. Now, what does fullness mean? Fullness means there is no lack. There is no lack and it is limitless. What does limitlessness mean? It means there is no limitation of time, space, or object. We speak of the 3-4 limitations in Anatma. Object-wise limitation, time-wise limitation. You take anything in the world, no? Will it be there forever? No, there's a time-wise limitation. And is it everywhere? No, there's a space-wise limitation. It occupies a certain space. And object-wise, it is confined by being that object. A flower cannot be a pen, and a pen cannot be the table. But Atma is Desha Kala Vastu Aparichinnaha. It is limitless. Then the shloka says that this Atma, which the Shastras describe as Paranandaha, is Prema Aspadaha. Paraprema aspadaha. It is the object that we all love very dearly. It is the dearest object of love for all of us. Now, why does the Shastra say that? Prema Atmani Ikshate. Because Ikshate, it is seen. It is a universally accepted fact. It is seen. What is seen? That we all love to talk about ourselves. Yeah, I did this. I'm going to do this. We write autobiographies. We post photos on social media. Yeah. And we all love the me time. We love to be. So in the shloka, Acharya says, Mana bhuvam hi bhuyasam. And nobody will wish to disappear. Everyone thinks that I want to be forever. May I never cease to be. Mana bhuvam hi bhuyasam. May I always continue. Now that feeling also comes because Atma is ajaha, amratihu, avyayaha, changeless, birthless, and deathless. Yeah? And so the shloka says that the love for Atma is seen in various ways. Even the one who commits suicide, no, is desperate because now in that body and mind, one is unable to continue. So one wants to be the pleased Atma again and hopes for a better birth in some other life, in some other family. So that love for Atma is seen universally. I was telling you about how there was a student, in our Gurukulam who asked Puja Swamiji, Swamiji, why do we come back every year to attend a camp, a retreat on the same topic? Then the answer Swamiji gave is, because the topic is you. Shastras are talking about you. You are the hero. No? So we are studying Panchadashi, we study Gita, we study Viveka Chudamani for this reason alone. That I want to claim and own up and be the happy Ananda Rupa Atma. Despite the unfavorable situations and challenges that will always continue. So this Viveka is what is talked about. Atma, Anatma, Viveka will of course come in. Now, there is another mantra in the Taittiriya Upanishad. There is an Ananda Valli, Atma, and I have described to you the Ananda Mimamsa also. No? So, imagine the richest, most affluent, person on earth, like Elon Musk. Yeah, the one who owns the whole earth planet, as good as owns. Yeah. What will be his happiness? We call it 1 unit. Yeah. Then when we go to leave planet Earth and go to other lokas, Svarga lokas, Gandharva lokas, Chandra loka, Surya loka, Indra loka, Brihaspatir, and so on, we find that the Ananda will become more and more subtle. Yeah, it will multiply exponentially, 100 units in higher lokas, and again 100 units. Finally, we come to 100 to the power of 20 units of Ananda, Manushyananda, is the ultimate Ananda of Brahmadev. Yeah, even that Shastra says is what? Finite only. It's a finite number. But the Swarupananda that the Jnani and the Guru enjoys as the Swarupananda, that is infinite. Yeah, and that includes all these Anandas. Now, when we talk about the self-love, the love shown towards the self, how if I don't get my me time to concentrate, focus, take care of my health, then I become displeased. And, I cause problems, I become a nuisance to others. So when I do something for myself, there is self-love. Is that a selfish love? This question can come to our minds. There was a student from Chennai, who loved to attend the offline classes in Chennai. But unfortunately, her family was not supporting her pursuit of Atma Vidya. They would say, how can you be so selfish? abandoning home and family and going to listen to some Swamiji about Ananda Atma? Is it really necessary? So there used to be a struggle at her home, and she would complain, and she continued to attend, do Vedanta Shravanam. Now, what is the problem here? Problem is not the pursuit of Atma Vidya of that lady. The problem is the insecure, possessive nature of the family. Yeah, feeling insecure that the mother or the wife is going out. Now, really, what is the student doing? Student of Atma Vidya, we are all pursuing the knowledge of the all inclusive, all pervading Atma. So, there is no my Atma, your Atma, his Atma, her Atma. There is only Ekaha Advitiya Atma. And so, when we pursue the nature of such an Atma, then there will be universal prema. There will be compassion, there will be tolerance. Yeah, all these good qualities are going to flow. And so, definitely taking time out for Vedanta Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam is not a selfish pursuit. No? Definitely in the earlier stage of life as a grihastha, when you have to balance the duties and responsibilities, yes, then you may not get enough time for Atma Vidya. But with age and when the ashrama changes, especially Vanaprastha onwards, yeah, one has to devote more time to Atma. And so then even the family will start noticing how come this person is so calm and cheerful. There's a radiance and tejas on the face. Yeah, and there is a healthy detachment and there is response to situations instead of reactions and retaliations. All these positive effects are going to come out. So that is the nature of Atma, Atma Prema. Now, what about Anatma Prema? The love that is shown towards others. Yeah, what is the nature of that love? Now, the love for the Atma, we can conclude is what? Unconditional. Yeah. So we all love to be. And if there is something that threatens my time, my space, my health, I will immediately try to do something and restore the situation. Yeah, to be again pleased, healthy, and happy me. So that shows that we all love and want to be the Ananda Atma, not now, but forever. Now, what about the love that is shown towards, the world, towards others? Yeah. And that the author describes in the next shloka, number 9. तत्प्रेमात्मार्थमन्यत्र नैव मन्यार्थमात्मने तत्प्रेमात्मार्थमन्यत्र नैव मन्यार्थमात्मने अतस्तत्परमां परमन्तेन परमानन्दतात्मनः अतस्तत्परमन्तेन परमानन्द आत्मनः परमानन्दतात्मनः तत्प्रेम आत्मार्थम् अन्यत्र न एवम् अन्यार्थम् आत्मनि अतः तत् परमं तेन परमानन्दता आत्मनः. Now here Vidyaranya Muni points out that whatever I do in the world, the love that we show towards Anyatra. Anyatra means anything Anatma. Anything Anatma, that also is for Atma only, one's own sake. Atmartham. Atmartham in Tamil has a different meaning, I think. But Atmarthama, that means he's just sticking to himself. But we won't take that meaning here. Atmartha means I want to be the pleased, healthy Atma. That is called Atmartham. In the safe zone, that is Atma. The sacred sanctum, safe zone, Atma. So, when we show any love or attention or do anything for anyone in this world, pursue anything in the world, for whom is that? Is it for that person? Is it for the sake of wealth, ambitions, and those goals? No. Shastra says it is also Atmartham. Swartham. Swartham is again the love for the Atma. So, tat prema, anyatra prema api Atmartham. Then, what about Atma, Atmartham love? Is it for others? No, that we've already seen in the previous shloka, that the love that is showed towards me, what I choose to pursue in life, my hobbies, my Atma Vidya, my Shravanam, is for my sake. It is not anyatra for anyone else. So that is why also the author concludes what? That Atma is a source of the Paramananda, highest Atma, and it is the object of love. Now, Atma is the object of love because it is a source of Paramananda. And in the world also we see this. We love anything in the world because it gives me some Ananda. Now, what are the various anatma things that one can love, which are objects of love for us? Starting with family. Yeah, the family is a source of ananda. So I love my family. And that includes son, daughter, partner. Then extend the family to the home. The house gives me security, comfort, conveniences. So it's a source of love. Then the garden, garden gives me fresh air, beautiful flowers. I love to be in the garden because it brings out the pleased me. So garden is prema aspadaha. So we continue this to wealth, possessions, pets, car, gadgets, conveniences, all of it. Everything, if it serves me in some way, it gives me some benefit, some convenience, some anandam, some pleasure, they become objects of love. What about Shishya and Guru? So some Shishyas also, as long as they derive benefit from the Guru in the form of knowledge. I'm gaining knowledge of grammar, Vyakaranam or Vedanta, whatever, mantra, chanting, meditation, then, the Guru is the object of highest love. What about the Bhakta and Bhagavan? Same logic. Yeah, Artha Bhaktas, Arthati Bhaktas, as long as, I do my pujas and Bhagavan is listening to my prayers and granting my wishes and sankalpas, Bhagavan also becomes Prema Aspadaha, object of love. Sakama Bhakti, we have seen. So we are talking about the nature of worldly love. Yeah, the love extended towards the anatma. Now, what is the nature of worldly love? Is it permanent? Is it permanent or temporary? Definitely it is temporary. No? The love for the son. What happens later on? We see all these videos where the children are kicking their parents out of home and putting them in old age home and taking all the property. Why? Because in that age, they have so much stress that they don't see their parents as objects of love anymore. They see the parents as burdensome. What about the house? We built our dream house. We worked so hard for it. But a time can come when even the house costs so much maintenance. And then we wish we had never built a house. And wealth. All our life we struggled and savings, we accumulated wealth. And a time can come when even the wealth is burdensome. I don't know what to do with this wealth, So gadgets, the gadgets do not function anymore. The car is old, breaking down. Then I want to sell it. Same thing with relationships. If relationships and people do not give me the joy and do not please me, they go on criticizing me, blaming me, then what will happen? Everybody will be in their spaces. You stay there, I stay here, and we don't mingle with people anymore. We don't take up their calls. And then ultimately it can lead even to divorce. So this is the nature of Anatmananda. Anatmananda is the experiential Ananda where we derive the Ananda from some object, some situation, some event, or some person. Now, what has really happened is there was an antakarana vritti. Antakarana vritti is the thought of my son. Yeah, it lit up my mind. Then what happened? That coffee ananda, that gulab jamun ananda, that sun ananda, that vritti subsided. And then the mind went back to the source of all ananda, which is Atma. So that is why all the anandas, Vishayananda, Yogananda, Brahmananda, Vidyananda, they're all a lesha, a fraction of the Atma Anandam. A fraction of the Atma Anandam. So that is why objects and possessions and even people that were once objects of love, so attractive, they lose their charm over the years. This is the nature of worldly Ananda. So now this shloka here, number 9, Vidyaranya Muni appears to have connected with that important mantra from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. I introduced it last time. The Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 2.4.5 is famous for a samvada, a dialogue between a sage, Yajnavalkya, and his wife, Maitreyi. So let us see those mantras briefly from the Upanishad, and we can connect to the shloka number 9. Now, I told you the story briefly last time, how there is this very wise sage, Yajnavalkya, who has lived a very Vaidika Grahastha life, had 2 wives, Maitreyi and Katyayani. But one day he feels the call, the inner call to renounce. And he would like to take up sannyasa and retire in solitude and do nididhyasanam. And then he calls both the wives and wants to divide the property and the wealth amongst them, both of them equally. And he announces the decision. So Katyayani, one of the wife, she agrees and she goes away. But the other wife, Maitreyi, she's called a Brahmavadini. Brahmavadini is she would challenge even King Janaka and court. So not only would she manage the home and the Goshala, and the Patashala, but she would also was intensely involved in Brahma Vidya, Shravanam. So she asks Yajnavalkya, why are you leaving the Grihastha Jivana and going to the forest? He says, because I want that Amritam. Ananda Amritam Atma Tattvam. I want to assimilate it, internalize it. Then she asks him, with all this wealth that you are dividing between the two of us, will we gain that Amritam? And so Yajnavalkya is surprised, but he says, no, my dear, you will be very comfortable. You will have a convenient life, but it does not grant moksha. So then Maitreyi says, then what use is all this wealth? Why should I settle for something less? When you say Amritam is the top priority for you now, you're going for that reason, why should I stay back and settle for something less? I also want that Amritam. So then Yajnavalkya is so pleased with her question. And he says, Maitreyi, you were always very dear to me. You're a devoted wife, but now you've become even more dear by asking this question. Come, let us have a dialogue. So Maitreyi sits in front of Yajnavalkya. Her husband is the guru now, and she's the shishya. So there we find the dialogue, and which we are going to read now. So I will chant those mantras, and you will be able to clearly see the essence of the whole, this current section that we are seeing. So Yajnavalkya Maitreyi Samvadaha, the dialogue in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad 2.4.5. So what does the sage say? Nava are patyuhu kamaya patihi priyaha bhavati. Atmanastu kamaya patihi priyaha bhavati. Nava are jayaye kamaya jaya priya bhavati. Atmanastu kamaya jaya priya bhavati. न वा अरे पुत्राणां कामाय पुत्राः प्रियाः भवन्ति आत्मनस्तु कामाय पुत्राः प्रियाः भवन्ति न वा अरे वित्तस्य कामाय वित्तं प्रियं भवति आत्मनस्तु कामाय वित्तं प्रियं भवति न वा अरे ब्रह्मणाः कामाय ब्रह्म प्रियं भवति आत्मनस्तु कामाय ब्रह्म प्रियं भवति न वा अरे क्षत्रस्य कामाय क्षत्रं प्रियं भवति आत्मनस्तु कामाय क्षत्रं प्रियं भवति न वा अरे लोकानां कामाय लोकाः प्रिया भवन्ति आत्मनस्तु कामाय लोकाः प्रिया भवन्ति न वा अरे देवानां कामाय देवाः प्रियाः भवन्ति आत्मनस्तु कामाय देवाः प्रियाः भवन्ति न वा अरे भूतानां कामाय भूतानि प्रियाणि भवन्ति आत्मनस्तु कामाय भूतानि प्रियाणि भवन्ति न वा अरे सर्वस्य कामाय सर्वं प्रियं भवति आत्मनस्तु कामाय सर्वं प्रियं भवति. So you would have got the gist of this. So Yajnavalkya mentions the various anatmas. Patyuhu. No, it is not for the desire for the pati, the husband that is dear to one. The husband is not dear to the wife because of the husband's nature, but atmanaha tu kamaya patihi priyaha bhavati. That is for the sake of atma, one's own sake, the husband is priyaha. Then jaya. Jaya means wife. So the wife is not dear to one for her sake, but for atmartham. Atmanahatu kamaya jaya priya bhavati. Because the wife is seen as a source of anandam, and so it is dear to for one's own sake. And so you can see the list. Putranam, the children, be it son and daughter, do we really love them for their sake? We love them because they are a source of ananda for us. Wealth. Through the wealth, I seek to be happy. I want Atma Ananda. Then Brahmanas, the Brahmins, the Lokas, the Devas, and Bhutas, anything and everything. Sarvam Priyam Bhavati. Yeah. So, this is a very famous mantra. Atmanastu Kamaya Sarvam Priyam Bhavati. So, it appears that, we love some person, we love some situation and event. But really what has happened? That object, external object, anatma object, has created an internal vritti. And that has brought me closer to myself. See, when the husband says, I love you, honey, to the wife, Swamiji, Puja Swamiji would say, wait. After a few years, he will say, I hate you, honey. Honey will be there, the word. So, which means when the husband says, I love you, honey, what does that really mean? Shastra says that the wife is mirroring their relationship, right? So, the husband is able to enjoy the Ananda Atma through her. And similar thing, similar logic, yeah? So, we all enjoy to be the happy Atma Ananda through our children, through wealth, through possessions, through our relationships, through anything and everything in life. So it is a roundabout route, is it not? So now, why? Because it is conditional. If you come on time, then I will love you. If you complete all the homework and, do the dishes, then I love you. Yeah. So there is always an if and demands and expectations. Yeah. So all these anatma objects that we love is pointing out what? Our own Atma. So the student of Vedanta, the Mumukshu, what are we doing? We are taking the direct route. We are not expecting or demanding love from others, but we want to discover the self-love, Ananda Atma, oneself. Because as we've seen, if the husband says, I love you, then the wife will feel happy. because she feels validated and approved. So she can accept, oh, I can be a source of Ananda. I'm a loving person. So she knows that. But can she not know that herself without anybody telling her that? So that is the self-love talked about in the Shastras. No? To discover that, come what may, who is there with me today, who is not there tomorrow, I am the nature of fullness. I don't lack anything. I will not expect, approval or demand validation and love for anyone or anything. Sometimes parents become helpless in old age. Yeah, and then we see the sad situations being driven out, you know. But if there is gracious aging, yeah, and the parents were able to draw the boundaries and, invest in their own, Atma pursuits, then there will be a healthy self love instead of the conditional love that one demands from the world, you know. So one is not a beggar anymore. So one has owned the vast empire of Satchidananda Atma oneself. So that is the purpose, why all this is discussed in the Shastras. The purpose is, that to understand that whatever I do in the world, I am really doing it for oneself, for myself, and that is not a selfish pursuit. Yeah. And so that self love, Vidyaranya is pointing out in these two shlokas, is Paramam. And Atma is Parama Prema Aspadaha, object of highest love. Now, when we discover that love, then only there will be Vairagyam. Vairagyam towards what? Anatma. So then only I will discover that I need not chase the finite objects and goals and ambitions in the world to feel loved and appreciated, to be someone, something. But it is right here and now for me to claim the self esteem, the self love, the self respect is all there in me here and now as the Atma Tattvam. So you see how important it is to understand the nature of, love for Atma and the conditional temporary love for the world. Then if there is Vairagyam, then my commitment towards Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam will become serious. Then I'll be more focused and committed and gain the goal of Atma Jnanam and then Jnanameva Mokshaha. Now, of course, we see the worldly love can also be selfless. Yeah. But that is only when we love others for the sake of Atma. So that Atma shining in me is the same Atma shining in animals, in plants, in everyone, in the lokas, in Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, everyone. So then whatever we do in the world, would benefit others also and give me happiness also. So that is the shlokas, which again by logic we have seen how Vidyaranya has established the Ananda aspect of the Jiva. Sat Chit Ananda aspect of the Jiva is the essential nature. No? Even our daily sleep, the deep sleep, does it not show that we are already Anandam? Because in the deep sleep, we have no problems, no samsara. And so there are no possessions there, no relatives, no relationships, no job, no tensions. But what is there? Sa Samvit. That connecting thread is there. And so we are in the womb of nature in deep sleep, Sushupti Avastha. So without needing anything, without doing anything, how come we are Ananda and deep sleep? And that is why sleep shows us that our nature must be essentially Anandam. But once we are identified with Anatma, once I wake up in the morning, what happens? I returns. And the I returns back in the mind and in this body. And then once there is Deha Abhimana, and then we get caught up in all kinds of situations which are likely to cause stress and tension and unhappiness and then we are waging our daily battles. So that is why one Acharya said, when we wake up in the morning, the first few minutes when we are opening the eyes, we can distinctly catch hold of that sa samvit. Yeah. So there are a few moments when we get up in the morning, it is very hazy, and we are able to, be aware of that sakshi drik. And then again, when we continue with continue during the day, if we have the space by chanting Pratasmarana Stotrams, by meditations, then we will have that space, Atma Anatma space throughout the day. So that was the 9th shloka. Now let's proceed to the 10th shloka. Yeah, here is one important mantra. Atma va are drashtavyah, shrotavyah, mantavyah, nididhyasitavyah. Hey Maitreyi. So Yajnavalkya says here, O Maitreyi, so that Atma for which, we do anything and everything in the world, should we not know it? Drashtavyaha. Drashtavya does not mean literally to see, but it should be understood. Atma, Are, Maitreyi should be understood. And how can we understand Atma? Shrotavyaha, Mantavyaha, Nididhyasitavyaha. By Shravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam. So that is where that dialogue ends, and he advises Maitreyi to do the Vedanta Shravana. Now in the 10th mantra, Vidyaranya Muni says, Ittam Satchit Paranandaha Atma Yuktya Tatha Vidham. Ittam Satchit Paranandaha Atma Yuktya Tatha Vidham. Param Brahmatayoschaikyam. Param Brahmatayoschaikyam. Shrutyanteshu Padishyate. Shrutyanteshu Padishyate. Itham. In this manner, Sat Chit Paranandaha Atma, that is the threefold nature of Atma, Yuktya, by logic. Yukti means logic. Tathavidam, and similarly what? Param Brahma. So that Brahma also. Tayoho, of the two, that is Atma and Brahma, Aikyam Shrutyanteshu Upadishyate. So now, Vidyaranya Muni is summing up the Tampada Vichara, and Satchit Ananda has been established. Now, shloka number 10 just says that, Itham, in this manner, Satchidananda Atma by Yukti. Now, Yukti is logic. So you will find here and there logic. What is the logic we just saw in this 8th and 9th verse? The logic is whatever is a source of Ananda is an object of love. That is a logical statement. Infallible. So like that, Shruti will use logics to establish a certain point. So by Yukti, Avastatraya Sakshi was a Yukti. And the last shlokas also we employed Yukti. So with the Yukti logical reasoning, we were able to conclude that yes, the nature of Atma is Sat, and Sat is Chit, and Chit is Ananda. Tathavidham. Tathavidham means, and so too Brahma. Now Atma, Brahma, what is the difference? Atma is, which appears to be confined in one body mind. Although, like space, space cannot be confined by the walls. Yeah, the walls of a room appear to confine space. And so too, Atma is not really conditioned by my physical body and subtle mind, but it appears to be confined, and that is called Atma. Now, Brahma is the all-pervading universal consciousness. So the shloka is saying, the Shastras say that just as we concluded Satchit Ananda aspect for Atma, same threefold nature is true for Brahma. So Brahma, Samashti Brahma, is also Satvastu, Chitvastu, and Ananda Vastu. Ananda, there is a shloka in the Taittiriya Upanishad which says that the whole Srishti has manifested from Ananda Brahma and sustained by Ananda Brahma and resolves back into Ananda Brahma and reappears from Ananda Brahma. That is the source. So that source, Brahma, like the Atma just proved, also has the same nature, Sat Chit Ananda. Then Tayoho means of the two. Atma, Brahma, the Aikyam, the essential identity. No, identity, how will it be established? Shrutyanteshu. Only by the end portion of the Shruti, which is the Upanishad or the Vedanta Vakyas. Tattvamasi, Aham Atma Brahma, Prajnanam Brahma. So we've come across so many Mahavakyas. What do the Mahavakyas do? They simply equate Atma, individual consciousness, to Paramatma, universal consciousness. So that is talked about here. Tayoho cha aikyam shrutyanteshu upadishyate. It is shown. Upadishyate is, it is shown. Now we've heard a lot about prema aspadaha atma. Our atma is the object which is dearest and object of the maximum love. Yeah, self-love is there, which is unconditional and it is permanent. So when this is true for each one of us, Sat, Chit and Ananda Atma, then why does one chase the Anatma objects in the world? Why is there a fascination, attraction of Anatma? Why does the mind run after the finite experiential Ananda when the permanent unconditional Ananda is there right here and now? So the reason is that Atma is covered, covered by the mind. Yeah. In other words, now Thampadavachara is over, the topic, and now another topic the Vidyaranya Muni starts, and that topic is Avidya. Who has covered the knowledge of Atma for me? Maya. So Maya appears as Avidya, the power to veil the truth of Atma and to project. Shakti Dvayam hi Mayaya, we saw in Drishya Viveka, that the power of Maya is such that it will cover this aspect of Ananda in me and project the Ananda in something else. And so I run after and chase the Anatma, Ananda in the world. So the point here to be noted is Atma is known and unknown. So what is known to us? Sat and Chit is known. Ananda is unknown. Yeah. It is difficult for me to be always in Anandam because it's covered. But Sat and Chit, yes, I can be aware. I am a sentient conscious being. So because Atma is both known and unknown, there is, this fascination for the objects. So let us look at one more verse today, and that is the verse number 11. Abhaneन param prema, abhaneन param prema, bhanena vishayaspriha, bhanena vishayaspriha, ato bhanepya bhatasau, ato bhanepya bhatasau, paramanandatatmanah, paramanandatatmanah. Abhane na param prema, bhane na vishaya spriha, ataha abhane api bhata asau paramananda tat manaha. Now, here again there will be a double negative. Bhana. Bhana means to know. Yeah. So, abhane sati. Sati saptami here. Abhane. Na param prema. Now, if the Atma is abhana, means unknown. If the Atma is not known, like for a baby, a newborn baby, does it know that there is a Satchit Atma? No, it will have to wait for a few more years for the intellect to develop and then understand the Atma. So here, abhane sati na param prema. If our Atma were not known, then there would not be param prema, double negative. Okay? Because we all are aware of awareness, sakshi drik, and so there is parama prema towards it. Did you get the first quarter? Abhane sati na param prema. If the Atma is abhana, that is not known at all, then how can there be love, parama prema for the Atma? Then, second quarter, bhane sati na vishaya spraha. Now, vishaya is sense objects. No? How the mind will run towards the sense objects in the world through the sense organs. No? So, there is spraha. Spraha means a longing and craving. Now, bhane sati. If the Atma is really known, bhane sati, will there be spraha for the vishayas? So these are all rhetorical questions. No, you understand Akshepartha? Rhetorical question is, can the sun ever rise in the west? Answer is no. So author is not expecting an answer here, but showing that if the Atma is not known, then there would not be the love for Atma. And if the Atma is known, then will there be love for Anatma? No. Okay, so what is the conclusion? Atma is known and unknown. Second line, let's see that. Ataha bhane api abhata. That is, even though Atma is known to some extent, but it is still unknown. It is not known fully. Yeah. Asau Atma abhata. Paramanandata Atmanaha. So, what is not known? Ananda is not known. Sat and Chit is known. Ananda is not known. So, in life also we know so many things. Yeah, and so many things we do not know. Now, is the Atma known or not known? Now, supposing the question is asked, are you there? So, will you say, oh, let me switch on the light? Am I there? Let me feel. Am I there? Let me ask my mother or my husband, do I exist? No, we will never say that. So, I am. Amness, the being, that I'm a sentient conscious being, I'm awareness, is known to most of us. Now, we have been studying Vedanta for many years, so we all know this. But the Ananda aspect, that I am of the nature of fullness, I don't lack anything, that is not so known. That is unknown. So now in this shloka, this is what, the question raised here is, if the self is not known, then I would not have such a love for Atma. And if the self, Atma, is really known, then I will not have a craving for Anatma. And because the self is both known to some extent and unknown to some extent, that is why we are struggling and we have, one leg in the Atma topics and one leg in the world. So the mind is getting attracted towards the world, and then, we realize and we come back to the Atma, then go out again. That spriha is there. And this will continues to happen till what? Till there is a total internalization, assimilation of that Ananda aspect of Atma also. Yeah. And so the next shloka, The author will show us, explain all this again with yukti. The yukti here is very interesting. The logic is taken from everyday occurrences. Yeah, from nature. From the nature, there are certain laws and connections we see, and so which fall into place. And then when we have this Shruti Anukula Yukti, that means favorable. We don't want to go against the Shruti's vision. So we employ a Yukti, a logic that is going to be in favor of the statement. What statement? That Atma is Ananda Sarupa Atma. No? And so that logic we will see in the next class. So let's chant this one more time. The new verses. इत्थं सच्चित्परानन्दः आत्मा युक्त्या तथाविधं परं ब्रह्म तयोश्चैक्यं श्रुत्यन्तेषूपदिश्यते अभानेन परं प्रेम भानेन विषयस्पृहा अतो भानेऽप्यभातासौ परमानन्दतात्मनः ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ